Episode 291. A cleric is not a class with zero offensive capabilities beyond healing and recovery. Sacred Fire is a damage over time skill, lasting 5 seconds with its damage decreasing each second. However, this skill didn't physically alter the character's state. Lord Grimm remained exactly as he was, yet when he landed, the pale crimson flames continued to cling and writhe around his body. But the damage isn't the most terrifying aspect of Sacred Fire. Its true horror lies in its 3-second skill seal. Any character burned by it will be unable to use any skills for 3 seconds. In terms of raw destructive power, the Priest and Nightwalker classes generally fall a bit short compared to mages, brawlers, swordsmen, or gunners. However, they possess a wide array of attacks with unique and debilitating effects. Unable to use skills, it was as if he had no mana. The predicament Ye Shu faced in those 3 seconds was all too easy to imagine. Even worse, after Zhang Xinjie's cleric, Ye Weiyang, landed that Sacred Fire on Lord Grimm, the other cleric also moved in on command. Under Zhang Xinjie's command, the cleric was no mere support, but the main force controlling the field. The cleric shook his holy text, finishing the chant just in time. As a flash of white light erupted from the scripture, he knew the skill was coming. Without hesitation, his character leaped backward off the cliff. He had no way of knowing where that cleric's Sacred Fire had ignited. Once cast, Sacred Fire will burn at its point of impact for 5 seconds, whether it hits a target directly or not. During those 5 seconds, if a target touches it, the skill will still trigger at full effect. The damage is one thing, but Ye Shu couldn't afford to be silenced for another 3 seconds. After being hit by Sacred Fire earlier, that Blade Master had already charged in fearlessly. Getting silenced again would leave him completely at the enemy's mercy. Lord Grimm kicked off the cliff face, immediately adjusting his angle to survey the surroundings. Just then, he saw Love to join the fun staff point ominously. A pillar of flame erupted, freezing Lord Grimm mid-leap. In that same instant, a pale crimson Sacred Fire coiled around him once more. Lord Grimm was launched into the air by the cleric's blazing impact. The cleric had clearly planned this all along, as the Sacred Fire was ignited precisely where Lord Grimm was floating. Lord Grimm's move had been seen through. Against this Sacred Fire, even Ye Shu had no recourse. Even if Lord Grimm could still move, ordinary physical attacks couldn't extinguish the Sacred Fire. Ye Shu could only watch as Lord Grimm was once again engulfed by Sacred Fire, suffering another 3-second skill seal. The effects of skills like this are calculated separately. Your 3 seconds run their course, and my 3 seconds run theirs. It's not like hitting someone with 2 Sacred Fires at once makes 3 plus 3 equals 6 seconds. Damage skills can stack and trigger together, but control skills are all about timing and chaining. Stacking them is just a waste. The 2 clerics from Tyrannical Ambition executed a perfect follow-up with their Sacred Fires. Lord Grimm was silenced for a solid 5 to 6 seconds, a state that would persist until he hit the ground. The striker and sharpshooter he'd knocked away earlier were already sprinting back. Even the sharpshooter, a primarily ranged attacker, was closing in to use physical skills. Clearly, the opponents intended to trap Lord Grimm in this corner. The others practically whooped with glee as they pounced, but Zhang Xinjie felt a pang of disappointment. He hadn't seen what he was looking for.
Why not use aerial gun?
This was the doubt in Zhang Xinjie's mind. In Lord Grimm's current predicament, most classes would be facing certain death, but a gunner could use the aerial fire skill to slow their descent, buying time to shake off the Sacred Fire's seal. They could even adjust their trajectory mid-air, setting up the positioning they'd need next. Lord Grimm wasn't a gunner, but an unspecialized character was no different when it came to aerial gunplay. The technique only used a basic attack, which Sacred Fire couldn't seal. It was absolutely usable here, yet Lord Grimm didn't use it. After the blazing inferno ended, he just plummeted straight down. Jiang Yu was already having his love of a good show chant the next spell at this location. The Blade Master sprinted from above, ready to jump down in support at any moment. The striker charged forward, fist swinging. The sharpshooter executed a slide tackle right on the spot, looking utterly determined to prevent Lord Grimm from landing. Then, a sharp snap sounded, barely noticeable amidst the excited clamorous shouts from Jiang Yu and his crew. The slide tackle was interrupted by that sound. He remained half lying in the slide position. On the screen, he could see his extended right leg, now firmly clamped to the ground by an iron latch that had flipped up from the floor. This was the thief skill, Trap Clamp. The sharpshooter was stunned. Where did this trap come from? Was it Lord Grimm who set it? Impossible. From the moment he appeared, his every move was under the watchful eyes of their entire team. This spot, Lord Grimm just rolled to dodge the bullet. Could he have actually set a trap during that roll? A preset trap, of course, wouldn't be sealed by a sacred fire cast later. As long as someone triggers it before the skill ends, it will activate. The sharpshooter was still reeling. A soft puff sounded in his ears as a plume of sinfully green smoke erupted from the ground, blooming in a dazzling cloud. The striker, who had charged boldly into the center, was now enveloped in the toxic cloud, his face rapidly turning a sickly green. It was another rogue skill, the poison cloud trap. Lord Grimm had actually laid not one but 2 traps during that roll to dodge the bullets. The sharpshooter found it hard to believe, but the evidence was right before his eyes. There was no way some random passerby had just left these here, right? They've been waiting at this canyon mouth for over 2 hours. So what's the purpose of these 2 traps? The sharpshooter was, after all, a skilled player. With the benefit of hindsight, a single glance at the trap placements was all it took for him to grasp their purpose. Clearly, this was a fallback position Lord Grimm had deliberately prepared, guarding against the scenario where a leap from that spot to break out was blocked, forcing a jump back down. That's why Lord Grimm set traps at this landing point, for protection. And in the event, the 2 traps proved to be immensely effective. Without those 2 traps, the sharpshooter's slide and the striker's rushing punch would have already slammed Lord Grimm into the wall. He wouldn't have been able to move a single step. But now, the trap shackle had locked the sharpshooter in place. It dealt no damage, but it interrupted his attack and restricted his movement. The poison cloud trap was a damage-focused trap, not a movement-restricting one like the trap lock. In the instant its toxic fumes hit the enemy, it inflicted a brief stun. That stun interrupted the striker's charge and broke his punch. That tiny, fleeting moment was all Lord Grimm needed. He landed, and their attacks missed their mark. Lord Grimm landed and immediately rolled to the side, a quick recover. This is a general skill, part of the same system as basic attacks, so it can't be sealed by sacred fire. The meddler had finally finished his incantation, and a chilling sleep began to patter down. But Lord Grimm was long gone. He'd already rolled away, long gone. The sharpshooter's eyes widened in that instant, trying to see if Lord Grimm could still lay a trap mid-roll. Only when he suddenly noticed the white flames flickering over Lord Grimm's body did he realize Lord Grimm was still under the seal of sacred fire. Even if he wanted to set a trap, the rules wouldn't allow it.